Good afternoon. Welcome to Healthcare Reality, or what we sometimes call a Crohn's disease life. It's June 22nd, 2010. The topic for today is when to go to the emergency room. And please keep in mind when I say when to go to the emergency room, this is really for chronically ill patients who are sitting around in pain saying, I'm really sick. Do I go to the emergency room and deal with waiting? And then, am I that sick? Do I need intravenous medication? As opposed to the car accident victim who obviously is rushed to the hospital, or someone having a heart attack, etc. But before I do that, I just wanted to address a couple of comments I got this week. A lot of people were looking at comments people made online about how they approached their chronic illness. And, some people I call friends were looking at these comments and really taking them to heart. And I had to intercede and say, look, the web is a place of anonymity, and we all can't forget that. Facebook is great, and we get to see our friends and whatnot. And the reason why I make this a video podcast is so that people could see me, so that they could listen and say, this guy is who he says he is, and he's been through what he says he's been through, and his tips are real. So for all you chronically ill people out there, find your friends online and weed them out the same way you would in real life. There are some great resources online, but there are a lot of creeps and a lot of people who have nothing better to do than to cut you down, okay? So just ignore that stuff. And if sort of writing on the web helps you and it's cathartic, keep doing it. But don't get offended when someone criticizes something that you write, because you really have no idea who you're talking to, all right? Now, when to go to the ER. First thing, the emergency room is not a source for primary care. What does that mean? Now, if you have no health insurance, unfortunately, it is a source of primary care. When you have a cold or the flu, instead of calling up the general family doctor, who back in the day would come to your house and visit, that was way back in the day, these folks go to the emergency room. And that's not what it's geared up for, because emergency room doctors and nurses are love them and leave them. I mean, they are geared up for battle, for war. They treat your acute illness, patch you up, give you medication for a couple of days so that you could follow through on the follow-up care with a specialist that they recommend. So you got to use the emergency room properly. Now, for chronically ill people, the key is listen to your body. For me, when I'm in so much pain that the medications I have in my possession do not cover the pain, or I feel that the pain is masking something more serious, I go to the emergency room. So listen to your body would be one of my pieces of advice. And I can tell you from personal experience that I once had a kidney stone, and it was very painful. Went to the hospital. They put a Foley catheter inside my private part there, hoping that I would pass the stone. I did not. They thought I did. And then they took the Foley catheter out. I went to the bathroom, and I was screaming when I went to the bathroom. Now, what I didn't know then was that the kidney stone was stuck in my urethra and was avoiding all these diagnostic tests. But the nurse said to me, well, it's normal to have some discomfort when you had a Foley catheter in. I said, nurse, I've had a lot of stomach surgeries. I know what discomfort is. I felt like I was urinating razor blades. She laughed, but sent me home. And 3 o'clock in the morning, I woke up, went to the bathroom, passed out. Luckily, a neighbor found me, brought me back to the hospital, and I had some sort of cystoscopy or a procedure, and I passed my stone. But my point is, you know your body. If you're having weird pain or something's not going away, be persistent. Be vigilant and be persistent. But be respectful. Also, again, talking to a chronically ill patient, call your doctor. Matter of fact, when you develop a relationship with your doctor, discuss what's going to happen if you get so sick that you have to go to the ER. Because what you want to have happen is you want to be able to call the doctor and say, hey, can you or one of your colleagues meet me at the hospital? Because chronically ill people don't want to go through having to tell the resident and the intern your whole life story 27 times, go through like 15 rectal exams. You don't want to have to go through that. So try to have your doctor meet you there, because they could grease the wheels. They make it easier. All right. Having said that, though, because too many people use the emergency room as a source of primary care, it's usually very, very crowded. And since it's crowded, they have to operate on a triage basis, which means there are limited medical resources, so they allocate them to the most needy. This is a technique that's used in disasters. It's used in the battlefield. So, your intense abdominal pain is very serious, but if someone can't breathe and they're having a heart attack, they're going to get treated before you. So when you go to the emergency room, keep that in mind. Also, keep in mind something I've said before, that if you get pissed that they're not treating you because there's someone sicker, one day that's going to be you, and you're going to get that priority. Just hope it's not you, but one day it may be if you have a chronic illness. So be patient. I'm trying to think of what else I could tell you about the emergency room. Bring your medications. Bring a list of your medications, whichever is more practical. Bring a friend. Have someone take you who is knowledgeable about your situation so that they can speak on your behalf, because you may not be lucid, you may be medicated, you may be in pain. Very, very important. And you may be waiting there for quite a long time, but it's very important that somewhere, and nowadays we could do like a list on the computer and put it on our phone. We can carry around with us a list of all our medications, our supplements, even illicit drugs, because it's your life that you're talking here. These people want to save you, and they need to know everything that you're taking, okay? And the last thing is patience. Our healthcare system has a lot of problems, and as a chronically ill patient, you really have to sit there and think, okay, like the way I think is, if my stomach is not going to perforate, I am not going to the emergency room. I can't afford it, and the aftermath of bills, and because you get a bill for everything, I can't deal with it. So when I am in the emergency room, I am really sick, and I would guess that 99% chronically ill patients out there are the same. You're not in a good mood, but you got to be patient. Bring something to do. It sounds strange to say you're going to be in so much pain, but bring something to do. But that's the reality of it. That's how our healthcare system is. I've had intestinal obstructions, but I've listened to a whole audiobook while waiting in the ER 3 hours. So, just be patient, try to roll with it, and one day our healthcare system will get straightened out. I wrote about the emergency room, by the way, in my book, Confessions of a Professional Hospital Patient. It's my account of being in and out of the hospital with my Crohn's disease. The emergency room chapter is actually up on my website as a sample chapter. That's www.hospitalpatient.com. And you could purchase the book at Amazon.com or Barnes & Noble. And I've been told it's very helpful, it's funny, it's engaging, it's poignant, blah, blah, blah. Okay? So if you have any questions, please email me at michaelweiss@hospitalpatient.com. At Twitter, I'm at hospitalpatient, or leave a note on this YouTube podcast, whatever we call it, and try to subscribe to the podcast. Okay? And submit any questions. It would be my pleasure to answer them or research them. Thank you.